Peace, peace. Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to touch on this story of the shooting that went down in Philly real quick. Maurice Hill, age 36, was in an 8-hour standoff slash shootout with the police out there. Now, they said they were trying to serve him a warrant and things went left. What's crazy about this dude is that he had mad charges against him stemming all the way back since he was like 17. And now the police out here saying, oh yeah, he should have never been on the streets. Duh. More than likely, the reason he was let out on the streets is because he was a possible informant. I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen this before with Nipsey Hussle's killer, who was out on the streets too, and they said he was an informant, which makes me think that's why they brought him in alive. Same with Nipsey Hussle's killer. They brought him in alive. Yet innocent black people getting murked every day for being innocent. How is it that when dudes is shooting at cops, they not getting killed, but then all the people is doing is walking down the street and they getting killed by police? That's crazy. But to me, this is a telltale sign that he was some type of informant. The fact that he was brought in alive too, the fact that he has all these charges against him, he's just out roaming on the streets. And that lets me know he was some type of informant. And either this was his programming to do, or he just went off on the handle on his own. They probably came out there to give him a warrant and tell him, you know, yo, we need some more information from you. And he like, man, I'm tired of being a snitch, man. So he just started wilding out. Or it could have been his programming they put into him. But, you know, either way. But this is my opinion on the situation and what's going to come of it. As you saw on Twitter, when this story was breaking out, Black Twitter was in a frenzy, boy. They was going crazy. They was basically like almost cheering dude on. They was making jokes, and they even made up a name for him called John Wick, Jawn. You know, all my Philly Bulls out there, they know about that. That's funny. You know, that was funny. But, you know, see, the weeks before, we have been having mass shootings with white supremacists. So now it's time to get the heat off of them. And I made a prediction too back then when we was having those white supremacist shootings. I said, after those mass shootings, that what, some scandal or some new story on R. Kelly or something is going to come out to get us off these shootings. And sure enough, a story on R. Kelly came out, and Negroes started talking about some 50 top greatest rappers with these white supremacist shootings going on. So now this shooting happens. And, you know, this one, like I said, was to take attention off these white supremacists. Always remember, public enemy number one in America is black people. Then you got, you know, that includes the black Muslims too. But regardless, we're the targets. So they have to find some way to flip this back on us. And sure enough, this just happened. Now, what I predict will happen with this is that the whole black identity extremist propaganda has pretty much begun. I mean, it's been going on. You know, it's really been getting underway. They started it. It's been going on probably since before that dude Micah. Remember the guy Micah back in the day? He shot up some cops. He was sniping people off of buildings, and they sent robots in to take him out. It was kicking off back then, but now it's really gonna pick up. I feel that the propaganda against alleged black identity extremists is gonna really start kicking up after this. They will use Black Twitter as an example of why, you know, there are such things as black identity extremists. Because remember, in their documents, they were saying how black identity extremists are dangerous because they may attack police and will teach others to do this and all of this. So now that you have Black Twitter basically cheering on this dude, they're going to connect those two together. So you know, they're gonna say, see, I told you we were right about the black identity extremists. They're attacking police now. We got to do something about this. And what this will also lead to, the something that they want to do is criminalize ADOS and foundational black Americans. They want to criminalize this grassroots movement. They need some way to do it. And they're going to connect all this together. They will try to say that ADOS and FBA are terrorist cells of of black identity extremists who are fostering anti-police and anti-government and anti-democracy hatred. They're fostering this. That's what they're gonna start pushing. You already seen that tweet by Talib Kweli, and I used to rock with you, Talib. What happened, bruh? You had a hard album, Reflection Eternal. I really thought you was down. You're a lame. So they got Talib Kweli. You know, he put out when those white supremacist was shootings was going on. He was talking about some. He basically said something like you can go look up his Twitter. You can Google it. He basically said, because I don't know if he deleted it, but it's still out there. He basically said something like, yeah, these ADOS are just like these white supremacist shooters because they're both anti-immigrant. You see what I'm saying? They're trying to connect those two. He's an agent type dude. But ADOS and Foundational Black Americans is not an organization. It's a lineage. It has to do with bloodline. And these white supremacists and their agents know this. But they will still push this agenda regardless because, as I said, we have to stay, they have to keep us public enemy number one. And you see, you know, it's happening even more now. They done banned Tariq Nasheed from the UK over a movie. And now, you know, even though I don't agree with her, now they're banning Ilhan and I think that other lady's name is Talib or something like that. They're banning them from Israel, so-called Israel, because they're speaking out against the white supremacy of the government of so-called Israel. So this is the whole play of putting into the people's minds that these people are dangerous. Oh, they're terrorists. They're domestic terrorists. You know, this is the propaganda they're going to push, and you see it now. The FBI just has some documents leaked out that are saying that black identity extremists are a bigger threat to America than white supremacists and or ISIS is. Like, come on, really? And they said that the Young Turks are the ones who leaked this information, and people are trying to say, you know, you can't trust Young Turks and all of this. But we've already heard about the BIE propaganda before the Young Turks leaked it just now a while ago. So it's not like they're lying about something. There's truth and substantiating evidence to what they're saying. But, you know, the FBI released some documents talking about how BIE is a bigger threat to America than Al-Qaeda and white supremacists and ISIS. Like, come on, I don't believe that at all. And then after all these leaks, after these leaks come out about the FBI saying these things, now we have this shooting go down in Philly. Come on, it's like they're putting it all together. You know, Google these things I'm talking about. And then they recently came out and said they want to make conspiracy theorists, quote unquote, into basically domestic terrorists. But my question is, who will define what a conspiracy is and what a conspiracy theorist is? Who's going to define that? This is where you're going to get it being used against us again. And then, you know, when the shooting went down in Philly, the Philly mayor made a statement that made my mind go to these white supremacist shootings, which is what I think he said it for this whole propaganda against us. He said, and this is a quote, he said, our officers need help. They need help. They need help with gun control. They need help with keeping these weapons out of these people's hands. How is gun control going to keep a weapon out of a criminal's hands in a country of guns? It's not. This is about keeping guns out of upright citizens' hands, namely black people. And then an Arizona Senator, Martha McSally, wants to make domestic terrorism a federal crime. And you know, that sounds good, but you know this will be flipped on us as well. So if that law passes, would this case of the Philly shooter be considered that? Like I said before, who's going to define what domestic terrorism is? Would that term and that charge be put on these white supremacist shooters who just got caught up? Or is that term going to be put on them? Or they're just going to be called mass shooters, mass murderers, and they're going to get charged on that? You know, with all this stuff adding up, it's not looking good in the streets, man. But I just wanted to check in with y'all and drop my opinion on this. You know, my opinion is that I think this shooting will be used
to push hard at the BIE propaganda, and we will see more and more attempts to criminalize ADOS and foundational Black Americans and turn the black people of America into terrorists for just existing and for getting on code to empower ourselves. Oh, and in my opinion, this will be turned on the Black Muslims too, because being that Philly has a large Muslim population, and from the looks of it, Young Bull might have been a Muslim himself. You know, they're gonna use this to criminalize Black Muslims too. But we all in this together. Cause so whether you a Muslim or you say Black, whether you put Muslim first or Black first, the word Muslim to white supremacists means Black. So it don't even matter. You everything Black is coming first. So, you know, we got the double whammy. Black Muslims out here, we got the double whammy. And I look at it as a double blessing. The more hardship I gotta go through, the more patience I gotta go through, the more struggle I gotta fight against injustice, then Allah will smile upon me and shine upon me even more, inshallah. So they're trying to hit up two birds with one stone with this whole thing. But like I said, I just wanted to check in with y'all. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned to the page. More content coming up, inshallah. Peace.